All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. Happy Friday Eve. Today is the 22nd of December, 2022. It is 8:01 Central Time here. And we'll get started just like we always do. We'll go over the ES futures really fast to give you guys a look into this morning, what I'm expecting. So, several minutes ago, before the news came out, we went ahead and identified two opposing zones that we'd be working with during this catalyst. And as you guys can see, we pull back into that zone. So that zone is 3881 by 3866. Is pretty wide. And what I did, if we just kind of zoom in here, you're going to see that we have this inside and up formation. I just use my line just underneath that inside candle and then put a line basically at this candle, which shows us that there was a lot of buying pressure in this area. We combine those to create the zone. So yes, we came into the zone, and as we get lower or towards the end of the curve or the lower end of the curve, meaning this 3866, I want to be looking at trying to take a long position out of here. There's a little bit of divergence for right now. Your resistance is going to be 3881. 3887 far as the range. I'm going to take this circle right here. We're going to move it to about right here. Okay, and if you look left, we have some down pressure. We have a little bit of supply here, most likely on a 30-minute, 2-hour candle. And so this is going to be our new range from 39.14 and 38.66. If for some reason we do start to break down under a 38.66, what I'd be looking for is a retest of that. So let's again zoom in here. Again, if we break down, there we have this trendy edge that's right underneath it. I would expect price to bounce up from here. And I would be confirmed that this would turn into resistance if we make lower lows here. But for now, I do expect today to be sort of range bound. When we come over to the daily, all right, into the daily candle, which is going to be right here. This was our blueprint that we pushed out this weekend. You can see that price came down into our target at 38.05. Didn't quite get down to the trendy edge, and that's okay. We pushed up into the cloud. We talked about this yesterday, that cloud being resistance until it's not. That's what this is all about. So when prices are underneath, we want to be defensive. We want to be looking for demand zones. And are we coming into demand? And if we come into demand or we come into a target, we should be looking, right, for prices to go bid there or for buyers to show up. We went inside and up, and again, the cloud was just a little too much for right now. So we are finding ourselves kind of stuck right in this area. Okay. And let's see here, Danny, I need to server mute you. There we go. All right, let's press on. All right. So we have, all right, this up here is resistance, and we have the support on the 4-hour, which is right here. Okay. So again, on open, we'll be seeing if we can get enough buyers to step in. On the 5-minute, we're going to use the PMZ or the pre-market zone. Notice that the risk today, all right, let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Clear the drawing set. All right, notice today the risk is assigned at 5.75, so I'm going to round that up to 6. That's a lot of points for me, so I would be more comfortable using micros. And as long as we're using micros, I'm comfortable with that risk at 5.75. The PMZ as of right now is 38.81. And a half by 38.75 and 3/4. Again, so that risk is 5.75. If we identify that level at 3881, so we're just going to move this up, okay? We don't have to be exact for right now. I'm going to put it right there. And then 3875, okay? And just kind of come down here, right there. Okay, this is your PMZ for right now, as long as we don't get a lot of volatility. This box is going to be resistance, okay? So even if price pops here, this probably give us an opportunity to go short, and then I'll be looking a little bit deeper towards this trendy edge here. Again, coming in around 38.62 by 65, somewhere in there, okay? So again, up and down. You can see that the 5-minute itself has been a really nice short. I think some of you guys got that last night. I saw that PH went short underneath the PMZ and just kind of right in the trend here. And you can see we hit that trendy edge, then we moved back up into the cloud, and then sure enough, we went right back down. All right. So until today, this is a true tell right here on a 5 minute chart. If they're unable to push price above the PMZ, and above this cloud, expect it to be a down day until we find some support in demand. Okay. So again, just kind of a sideways down day until we at least start to bid above this cloud. And that's not asking a whole lot. This is a 5 minute cloud. It's not like it's far away. We're at 38.72. Price at the top of the cloud is around 38.90. So, I mean, about 20 points or so. So we're kind of stuck here. All right. We're stuck sideways to down until things start to bid above there. Now, as far as relative strength in the market, this is what we typically do: is come in. We don't want to fight the trend. All right, so coming over here. One thing I've noticed this morning is like Futu, Babas, Chinese names continue to be strong, and even on this pullback, we're kind of setting up. So I have my eyes on Futu, and this is the same thing that we do every single morning. The last 2 mornings, we've had amazing trades, whether it be in BA on Tuesday, or yesterday we had AMD. We had several trades that worked out very, very well for us. This is no different. So I want to go over the strategy really quick as far as what you're looking at on my end. So when I first started this, all right, and gave you this blueprint. So if we come over to Futu, okay, we have this 4 hour, okay, and price was up here, so we wanted to wait for price to come back into the zone. It's come back into the zone just like we wanted it to. And on open, I'd much rather try to start getting long at the bottom of this box or down here towards 62.64 before I get long. Okay, so I want to see buyers show up, just like the ES futures. I want it to come in. I want to see buyers step up. The risk for right now on this particular trade is going to be about $1.50. That's it. All right, about $1.50. I'm not, for me, I'm not sure if I'm going to be buying equity or I'm going to buy options, but we'll find out here shortly. You guys will see it come in here. Okay. So this is the blueprint itself. Again, if for some reason we open up and immediately flush, we just don't do anything. It's not a big deal. Let it come in. The further it comes down, the better. I'd rather get it cheaper anyways. We got a little bit more support down here around 61. I'll try my buys right around this zone. Now, what I'm looking for as we come into any of these lines to the downside, okay, and I can create a couple. I can use this edge. I can come right here and use these edges. But any of these lines that I come to, what I want to do is I want to go over to a smaller time frame. And when we're getting closer to one of my lines, I want to see these red bars on the TTM squeeze go yellow, okay? Preferably 2 yellow bars. I found a little bit more comfortable, okay? It doesn't mean I have to wait for the yellow, just letting you know the tool that I'm using to kind of help me gauge whether I want to get in the trade at that point, okay? So again, this is Futu. It's up a little bit. Relative strength over here in some of the China names. You guys can see Baba's up as well at 88.93. The next one that I have on my list that I'm looking at is going to be Tesla. It's down yet again. I guess that Tesla will never go back up. But on a higher time frame, on the weekly itself, and matter of fact, this is the yearly. So check this out, folks. We were doing scans yesterday using our process and paying attention to the bigger candle. I mean, the bigger candle. This is the year. Just take that in for a moment, guys. Take that in for a moment. Anyone that got long up here, I mean, is severely underwater here. All right. In order for, there's a lot of pain here, I would imagine, for a lot of long-term traders. What I do like is that we found a smaller zone on a quarterly, I believe, and we're very, very close to it. 133 has been a target for quite some time. Now, I started a long position that still has 100 plus days left, and I would really like to rely on this yearly, either this 133 level or this EMA. We know that EMA can serve as a really nice trampoline, if you will, or a relief bounce in this area. Okay, so notice that the EMA is here, and it's very, I wouldn't say it's close, but it's around 122. So like around 133 to 122, you got that $10 pocket in there that I feel like extreme fear probably comes in. People are feeling like, hey, Tesla is never going to work out again. There's a lot of talk. We talked about this. All right, this is what happens. Price, catalyst, Elon, everything that's going on out there is pushing price down into demand. And again, this is a higher time frame demand zone. So if we come over here to the quarterly, all right, and take a look here, this is your quarterly, all right? And if we use a Fibonacci and we go from the rally itself up to the pivot high, you can see we're under the 618. That's not a good sign, all right? What that means is that the trend that I have decided to measure here, it went, basically that trend is broken once we broke that 618. So the trend is broken. And in many, many cases, the 76.4, I call it the imposter level, serves as a very good relief bounce area. So I know that we're getting close in here. And so, I'm ready. I have like what you would consider like a long-term lotto position in my small account, which has been doing really well lately. Not Tesla itself, but the account itself. And I'm willing to right in this area once we get here and we get a little bit confirmation that we can hold the previous day's lows, I want to start going in long, but at the monies. Okay. And I want to have a nice relief bounce, nice trade here in Tesla for 1 to maybe 3 days, depending on, what the market wants to give us. But I do think we're getting very close here. Okay. For a relief bounce. I'm not saying like a full on recovery or anything like that. For my supply and demand traders, you could see even on the quarterly, we created some supply here. So let's say that Tesla does indeed find some buyers in the next several weeks. You could get a really nice bounce back up towards this 167 and even towards this 214 area before the bigger sell-off comes down into possibly 61. Okay. So again, this is a huge level, the 88.7 of the rally. For right now, there's a 85% probability, the way that I look at these Fibonacci's, 85% probability we can hit 61 as long as price stays under 167. But again, I expect a bounce from the 108 before that happens. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for in Tesla. As far as the day trade goes, again, coming over to a 5 minute, what I'll be looking for is once the PMZ comes up here, it's only a risk of 61 cents. If we go a bit above that, I'll be looking to go long. I'll be looking at targets to head up here towards 137.50. And then after that, 138.26. And then after that, about 139. Okay. I'm not interested in going short right now. As I said, I would expect some buyers to come in. It looks decent, coming into a tape that's down 32 points this morning. Okay. So any questions on that? If you guys don't have any questions, please, we're going to go over, Melissa will go over her setups. And after that, I'll continue to look at some charts if you guys have any requests. Okay. So pretty straightforward. Another thing is I let most of my positions go yesterday, so perfect timing. So yeah, it's actually been a really nice week. So let's continue to continue strong and finish out the week strong. All right, awesome, Melissa. Thank you. We are, yeah, and so another thing we want to talk about is let's go back to the daily candle. Okay, so 2 days up, we made a joke yesterday, 2022, 2 days up is like all you get, right? It does feel pretty common that 2 days is, it's a weak sauce, man. So, overall, you know you can go back several days here and see, hey, one big day here, they give you 200 points, which is equivalent to like a week, and then you get your second day, and then we come in and kind of digest. I mean, really, what's going on here is a nice little move from 38.05 all the way into 39.20. That's not bad at all. We had resistance, and now we're just kind of digesting that move. And, the question is whether or not we can hold some very key levels of this. If we come into 38.05 and you measure the move itself, you can see that we're breaking down below the 38.75, which is the 38.2. And so we know how important that 38.2 is of the rally that we measure. And unfortunately, that cannot hold at the moment. Okay. 618, I would have to say, is the deal breaker for the Bulls. So if you guys can't, Bulls, we're talking to you. If you can't hold a 38.48 level, then things, can start to look ugly. And you look back and you're like, man, the rally was just basically a rally and, you can't marry it. So that's why it's really important to be trimming when you're winning, like yesterday, right? Making sure that you're bringing stops up. For me, it's all, portfolio management, where I feel comfortable. And as you guys know, where my comfort level is right now is I don't trust the market. So when I'm making profits, you guys can come over here and check it out. You could see, I'm taking profits pretty quickly. This DE, I had my original sell in for $2. Um, and I ended up bringing it down. We could have got out at to something. Some of you did very, very well. I got some great comments yesterday, privately, and congrats to you guys. That wasn't an easy hold, but it worked out. We got DE. We got a bunch of trades from Melissa that did really well. But you could see my average. I'm getting in and getting out, man. Having a good time. We have a lot of winners on a lot of different names. And so I'm day trading, guys. Not marrying any of these positions, not trying to get overexposed. And as you all know, it's very important for me also to, it's a mental thing for me, is once we start 2023, I want to start fresh. So I would say at least my margin account, which is going to be not the private account side, but it says right here, Trendy alerts. For me, for my margin account, I will not have trades in there come, at the end of the month. All right. I want to make sure that I start from ground level coming in for 2023. All right. So I'll be messing around most likely in this account going forward. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Now, if I put on spreads, um, butterflies, those type of things, then I'll be using the margin account. Okay. And you guys will see that come through here as well. All right. So, I mean, we're not, again, I think it's one of those things where, I talk about it, I'm like, man, how many, how many proof of concepts, can we show? I think yesterday we probably had probably upwards somewhere between 7 and 10 trades that were positive. And really just using PMZs, using edges, using the levels to take trades off of, I think is really important. Wait for your level. If you don't have a level, the way that I look at it, it's speculation. All right. So say we have multiple levels, maybe they're green, maybe they're yellow. I don't know. But whatever you may have on your chart, all right, if price is bidding between one of these levels, and what we see, right, is that what I'll see is I watch traders and they start to self-doubt in here and they start doing weird stuff, and they start saying things and talking themselves into trades, and they might say something like, I think we're headed here, and this happens to them. Right? We hit a level and they lose, and then price, moves from this level to the upside. All right. And if you just would have waited for your level, things could have worked out for you. And even if it didn't bounce, maybe it breaks through the level and you start to go short through that level. My biggest thing, wait for the levels. Okay? Just like the PMZ trade, right? The PMZ is up here. If you're trying to speculate between it and trying to figure out what it's going to do, I think that's where it can be difficult. Now, keep in mind, we have the cloud. We could trade off the cloud. Many people use the cloud. The cloud looks like this, right? If we're above that cloud, we want to be looking at going long above the cloud, and you want that cloud to be support. So if you miss a trade, right, then I'm looking for price to come back to that cloud, right? It's the same idea. Price comes back to the cloud. Price comes back to the levels. Price comes back to the levels. I take a trade. Take that trade off of here. I know what my risk is. Place that stop and try to trade it to the upside. It's just a trade. All right. But very important to wait for the key levels because for me, that's where the probabilities are better for me. Okay. It's where they're better for me. All right. All right, let's bring this over here. You guys can see Futsu's already kind of bouncing a little bit here in the zone from 63.22. It's a little illiquid, so you got a nice little spread in there, pre-market 50 by 87, but nice little, if you try to take the trade at the bottom of the zone like we talked about. And then Tesla trying to work its way up as well. Here's your PMZ, by the way. Your risk today is 62 cents. I would, for me, just round that up to a buck. You know, my risk is going to be $1. And then over here on Futu, again, the risk here is about, it's not bad. I would make this $1 as well. The risk is saying 23 cents from a PMZ perspective, and that's fine. So if you want to make it 25 cents, great. But because I expect some volatility today, in a little bit of, chop, then I need to be more open with my stops, okay? Next thing to look at will be, let's look really quick at our neutral strategy. Okay, right here. Here's our neutral strategy. All right, and notice what's happened. We came into the 4H imbalance, and that worked really well. This is also called a demand zone. All right, we pushed out of neutral yesterday. If you took the long, congrats, you hit your first target at 386.79. If you took it from the zone, you almost got 10 bucks out of the move. And over here, we hit T3 to the upside. To the downside, sorry, moved up very nicely into the neutral. If you look left, it hit the supply zone. And so, everything's kind of doing what it's supposed to be doing during the holidays. You can't expect a whole lot. People are out doing their thing, and then there's that, small percentage of us that are still sitting at home getting in some trades. So again, don't marry the trades. Just try to get in and out, have a good time. Don't ruin your holiday. Always allocation first. Always know how much you want to put into the trade, know how much you want to lose in that trade, execute those levels, and be a good manager. That's the best thing we could do is be good stewards of our money. Okay. All right. So let's go from there. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the the stream. All right, and then we'll get started here shortly, guys. I'm gonna heat up my coffee.